three. Now we're live.
And now we're live. Welcome to the Fighting News. I'm your host, Don McGuire, the host of the original Fighter's Voice. This show is dedicated to my platform tonight, but my brother Steve, because the weather sucks out here. Fiber optics doesn't work that great when it's below zero. So I wanted to make sure that our guests had a tremendous show, a great opportunity, and really share them with your platform because they're already relevant in mine. But you're a much bigger, broader fan base. You have a lot more, followers and listeners than I do. And so thank you first and foremost for opening your show to my listeners, to my guests, and being a part of my life, bro. You come on my show, we rock it for the world. And I think it's the greatest thing that we all do this together.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, everybody's trying to one up each other, but you don't gain from that.
Right.
Just like a fighter, when he steps in the ring, everybody, some fighters, I did it. No, you didn't. It takes a team. But when you look at Power Slap, we're going to find out tonight because we got two of the best from the first season, and King Ryan and the dog in me, Mr. Rese Archer. Bro, I am so stoked because King Ryan, I've been following his career. Rese Archer, I've helped build his career. So tonight, sit back and enjoy, and let's enjoy a night of Power Slap, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's bring them in.
Yes, let's do it.
What's up, guys?
What's happening?
Hey,
What's
thanks for that
happening?
introduction, buddy. Big Don, Big Steven, what's up, boys?
What's going on? We got
Killer Reese. Look at Killer Reese. How you doing, baby?
Man, I'm blessed, brother. I can't complain. I'm cutting weight, getting ready for this fight. I fight next Saturday. Well, this Saturday I fight, so it's weigh-ins on Friday. So, we just cutting off the rest of these last little pounds. The small things to a giant.
Yeah,
Nice.
so you got dressed for me tonight, buddy.
I thought you got dressed for us, Ryan.
I did.
Hey, but like we said earlier before we went live, it might be the Power Slap show, but it's the Power Slap show with me. We got King Ryan, and Ryan, I've followed your career from the beginning, brother, and I want people to know because you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to get into Power Slap. You already have a great job. You're already making good money. What was it that, I guess, enthralled you to take this step into an unknown aspect of the sport?
Well, yeah, it always hasn't been this great. COVID, I was sitting on my ass doing nothing, being miserable. World shut down. The year before that, my mother passed away, so I was in a pretty dark state. But I started watching slap fighting and the Wolverine, Darius the Destroyer, Frank the Tank, some of the legends of the sport slapping the shit out of each other. And I was like, man, I used to do this for fun at the bar. Me and the boys getting a little tipsy, throwing back some of that whiskey, and slapping the shit out of each other. That's how we do it. So, I was like, God damn, I should get up there. Wolverine was just dominating. So for me, I was like, man, I want to show this guy what's up. I know I can go up there with the best. I know I could go straight to Wolverine and show him what's up. But nothing. It didn't materialize. I tried signing up, but our schedules didn't mix. At that time, I was actually still not a full-time employee of where I'm working now, and I was actually fighting for a promotion. But not too long after, Power Slap came a knocking, and I said, you know what? It's time to put the phone down. It's time to put the computer to sleep. It's time to go to Vegas and slap the shit out of someone and make some history, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
What was it like? Paint a brief picture for us, brother, because a lot of people in the world of our, mixed martial arts, combat sports, got kind of sideswiped by Power Slap. But they didn't really expect it, and when it came out, a lot of people were on the fence about it, and I happen to be one that likes it, but I wasn't one that went out of my way to watch it unless you or somebody that I enjoyed was on the show. What was it that kept you so intrigued? I mean, because when we first because I write a lot of the rules and regs for the sport of bare knuckles, so I really dig deep into that aspect. But when you first stood up there for your first power slap competition, what goes through the back of your head, bro? What, I mean, because you know you're going to get the shit slapped out of you by somebody. And, you know, a lot of my colleagues, because I've been in the industry for 41 years, a lot of my colleagues said, even UFC world champion said, I couldn't stand there and let another man just slap the shit out of me.
Right.
So there has to be something more to Ryan Phillips, to Rese Archer. What is that feeling that drives you to allow others to slap the shit out of you? What is it about this type of competition that engulfs you?
Yeah, it's you know, there's a lot of anger inside. I think there's been a lot of wrongdoings that have happened in my life that I haven't been able to get back. So the person's face right in front of me across that table is getting it all. And you know, that was it for me. You know, when I first signed up for Power Slap, you know, I was into the sport, yeah, but I was also in it for that nice free vacation to Vegas and you know, free food and somewhere to get out of Ohio for a second, you know. But holy shit, look what it turned into, right? But you know, getting up there, you know, for me, the very first time getting up there, of course, it had to be against One-Eyed Wolf, one of the most dangerous dudes on the planet. And you know, I had the first slap, so I actually didn't even think I was gonna get hit because I was that my ego was fired up. I'm like, who the hell's gonna take a hit from me, man? You know, I'm going up there swinging 100%. Guy's got his hands behind his back. I'm throwing this dude over the edge, bro. And no, sure enough, I threw that slap, and the One-Eyed Wolf, tough as shit, a titanium wall, just standing there laughing at me, going yum 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 yum, just pissing me off even more. But you know, taking that first hit, knowing I was going to take that first hit, just you know, looking over to my left and seeing Dana White's bald head, you know, I knew I had to stand there and stand still. So you know, there was a lot of catalysts that helped me, you know, just be able to stand there, take that hit, and not fire back right off, because that's, you know, I know Killer Rese in the streets, he would be firing back if he got hit by a slap by anybody because he's a dog. So. But you know, I'd like to hear what Rese has to say about that.
Well, man, my first thoughts of being able to perform for Power Slap, it was almost like yours. You know, I was almost at a crossroads at the time. I had a MMA fight recently get canceled, so I was kind of trying to figure out like where I was going to go from there. You know, and then I happened to be like really strolling online, looking at some YouTube fights and looking at stuff on YouTube, and I came across some slap fights that was happening in Russia. I didn't even see none of the. I didn't even know it was any slap fights here in America until I actually got on the show and I met JT. But seeing the slaps in my car, I was like, man, you know, I could see myself doing this. And then I get a message in my comment section from one of the UFC producers at the time, and they like, check your emails. We've been trying to get a hold of you. I had a three-week-old message in my email saying that they've been trying to recruit me for Power Slap, and that it was an opportunity for me to be a champion on a new adventure, like embarking on something new. So I was just like, you know, I'm a game opponent, you know. So after seeing that online and then hearing that Dana White name was attached to it, I was already sold.
Oh, you wanted to give Dana a big kiss, bro. Come on.
I don't know about a big kiss, but I definitely wanted to show up in Big Dana and show him what I had, you know, because I was like, you know, being an MMA fighter and crossing over into a new sport, everybody does MMA and hoping to get into the UFC and being able to perform in front of Dana. So getting a different opportunity to be able to get that same type of effect, long lasting effect on the sport and a new sport at that, it only seemed right to bring me along.
You know, I only feel it's fair for me to really kind of give a little bit of relevance between me and you, considering that we go back almost 10 years now. We go back quite a ways. You know, Steve knows, but Ryan does. You know, I like to help fighters in this industry. I've been in the industry 41 years. You know, I had opportunities given to me. And so there was a promotion called KOP in Michigan, you know, Matt Frendo and Josh Medley. And a lot of the fighters, a lot of the people that worked for them started sending me these text messages and emails talking about, it's Friday night. We're going to, you know, they're going to be ending up the cage. And I said, wait a minute. I don't deal with racism. I don't deal with people tearing fighters down. So I reached out to the promotion, because I helped build MMA in Michigan. And what I got was an arrogant piece of crap and Matt Frendo. So, you know me, bro, I'm going to call you on the show. But what I wanted to say on tonight's episode is because of Rese Archer doing a live video thanking me on behalf of Michigan, I dug into my bag of tricks and I got Rese with Chuck Liddell, Chris Cyborg, Rampage Jackson. I mean, the list just continues to go and go. But Rese, you would have never got there if you didn't have that drive. What mentality changed from being in the hood on the streets in Michigan to now being with some of the most elite athletes in the world at Team Body Shop?
Man, a lot changed with me personally, man. I had to do a lot of personal growth, a lot of soul searching and a lot of mental growth and a lot of maturity had to come from that as well because I was in a different place and I couldn't be the same person that I was when I went into that environment, let alone trying to learn actually how to fight. Because when I got there, I was kind of cocky. I thought I knew how to fight, and I had to realize and swallow the pill that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And that was a real hard pill to swallow because I was already in my late 20s going into my early 30s, so that was a real tough pill to swallow to basically erase the drawing board and start from scratch and admit that I know nothing, but I was willing to do that because there was something greater on the other end for me and I knew that, and the only way I was going to be able to achieve that was by starting over. So being able to go to California and be able to be at Team Body Shop and being able to grow with those guys, that was a real, probably one of the best experiences before moving forward. During that time was the best experience of my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything, because I became more of what they call a professional person now. I'm more socially acceptable. I think before I react, and just being able just to apply some of the new things I learned from being at Body Shop into the rest of my life just really helped.
Yeah. Well, it was a great thing to watch you rise up, become part of this. One thing a lot of people don't understand, and we're going to bring Ryan back on in a second after I ask you this question, and we'll switch it up and let Steve jump in. But, a lot of people don't really know the background of Power Slap. You, and a lot of other people, but, I get called a liar. I get called all kinds of names because I say they treat it just like they do the Ultimate Fighter. Please explain to the people listening, the people that enjoy Power Slap, and, you got my boy here and you, so they can't really say we're lying, but is it an Ultimate Fighter house atmosphere with Power Slap?
I would say yes and then no at the same time, but yes, definitely the whole synopsis and the whole blueprint of what they're creating, and then at the same time the house that we used was the same house that they used for Ultimate Fighter, so it is the same atmosphere, so and then we're all using the UFC PI and we're following the blueprint. Actually, they told us that we were following the UFC Fighter House blueprint to build Power Slap, so. And I really didn't watch a lot of the Ultimate Fighter houses besides some of the episodes you've seen the guys being drunk and wasted and the fights breaking out. I was definitely I thought it was a magic genie in our house. We had fresh bottles of Howler Head and everything you could think of every night. I was like, the shit is empty. Next day is fresh bottles. I'm like, where the fuck is they getting this shit from? That was me sweating. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. I didn't even know. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah.
No worries. I loved it. I loved it because I got to watch Steve progress. I got one question with Ryan, Steve, before we kind of jump and let you get in here.
Yeah.
Because Ryan, when you first got this opportunity, they asked you a question. They asked you, where do you think you're going to go with Power Slap? And you said, if it turns into something. So when you walked into Power Slap, in the back of your head and in your mind, were you uncertain? Were you unsure that Power Slap was going to grow to the magnitude that it has?
Yeah, you always have to stay a little bit pessimistic when you jump into something like this because slap fighting, for me, I knew the history of slap fighting. I've been watching it for years and years, since about 2018, the first video of Russian Dumpling coming out and slapping that one skinny tattooed eyeballed guy. at that tattoo convention. So that was like a 2018 video that was circulating. But you know, like I said, it comes with skepticism because slapping is kind of a niche. You know, fighting you can defend yourself. You can show skill. Slap fighting is so new to everybody that no one really understands the skills that it takes to be an actual professional power slap striker. So we have to get that point across. Now, some guys just go up there, do their thing, walk off the stage. That's only as exciting as it is. Then you got guys like me, Rese Archer, go up there and put on a damn show for y'all, and get the crowd involved and show off our skills, show off different things. Rese, I remember him. He hit with his right, and then he squared up with his left, and he was one of the only fighters to go use both hands in a single fight. And he was doing unique things, and that's stuff that we need to push this sport, to drive the sport, is that uniquity, something that separates us. And we were separating ourselves from the other slap leagues like crazy because of characters like Rese, and myself. So you have to, I guess you have to see it. For me, I have to see it to believe it, kind of thing. So at first I was definitely skeptical, and then now it's like you see the numbers, you see people watching now.
History.
Yeah,
you
and
see
you're
history.
like, wow. And now I'm on a baseball card. Who would have thought I would have been on a baseball card? But here I am, and it doesn't get any better.
Well, that kind of pisses me off, bro, because I've been in the industry for 41 years, but busted my ass. I see all these other fighters that I've taken pictures. My pictures on the cards. You've been in power slap for a few years, and you've already outclassed me, bro. Come on.
Hey, I could direct line to Frank and set it up. Me and you can have a match, and we can get you on a card. That'll be one of the stipulations, Don. Not just
hey, I'm game, bro. I'm game. Hell, I've already broke my neck twice, so I mean,
Dog, like I ain't got shit else to lose. Fucking let's go.
Yeah, fuck it. I ain't got nothing else to lose. But
I knew that was your answer. You're such a warrior, Don.
I got a question though. But how does an administrator for Nordson Corporation do this? I mean, I know what you mean about the other power slap because I did watch it. Hell, actually, it's only 25 minutes from my house. Yeah. The promoter's probably owes me about $8,000 right now, and his name is JT Tilley, one of the biggest piece of craps on the face of the earth. And JT, come after me. I would love for you to come after me, brother. The thing of it is power slap almost didn't happen because he gave power slap such a bad name. And it's sad that you have to recruit. He even had a few meetings with Dana. I'm glad that Dana went his own direction, did his own thing, because what you ended up with is a greater project, a greater product, tremendous warriors. My only thought, bro, is you've been doing so well. Your name has been growing worldwide. You've been trying to get, so much recognition for power slap, even looking into getting it into the Olympics. Why retire now, brother?
Well, that's a good question. To be 100% honest with you, when I first started as well, I knew my age. I'm a realist. I got to know when I'm stepping in there. I was 38, 39 years old. So now I'm pushing 42, and the age is a factor. And not only that, but also from the promotion standpoint as well. But I never wanted to be in this sport for that long. Just because every blow to the head is serious, and I knew the consequences. I knew what could be. For me, I got injured, so that prolonged my career by about a year. I blew my bicep, and that took a long time to heal. But after that, I went on a winning tear, and then fought for the title. But like I said, I never wanted to be in the sport for too long. The injury prolonged it, but the injury also opened up another side of myself to the sport, and that was coaching and cornering people, which I was very blessed to do, and was very fortunate to get that opportunity. I was one of the few. I mean, I coached power slap 1, 2, and 4 right off the bat, and the only reason why I didn't do 3 is because they needed the champions to show off at Fight Week. So, you know, I was one of the people that really helped train pretty much everyone you see in the top 10 and build this sport. And so that's something that I'm blessed with, that I had that opportunity. And, you know, knock on wood, we'll see what the future holds with that portion. Because, you know, hey, I may have retired, but that's only from competition. I'm still with Power Slap.
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, Ryan.
Let me 1 sec, Steve.
Yeah.
I apologize. I get that, you know, and I was going to go along the coaching route. I was trying to build it up that way, brother. But, you know, one thing I wanted to say to both you and Rese, you guys both have more balls than I will ever have. I mean, I was watching some of your videos earlier, and I watched where the guy clubbed you, and then you went to shake his hand. He didn't want to shake your hand. Then he decided to, and then you went, you know.
Classic King Ryan.
Yes, sir.
You know, is it those types of moments that build that intensity, that build that veracity of that slap? Because I've never done this. You know, I'm inducted across 4 different genres. I like power slap, but you know, the rules, everything, the mindset is all unique. It's all a breath of fresh air, like bare knuckles. So it intrigues me. But take me to one, before we get to Rese, take me to one moment that you can remember where you were like, fuck, I should have never signed up for this shit. That hurt.
Oh, the very first fight, my very first fight with One Eyed Wolf. You know, it's cool. You know, the Power Slap environments, when you're a competitor and you go to the show, you know, you're just basically hanging out with people. I mean, the first time I ever met Carice, we were just hanging out in the hotel cafeteria with a bunch of the workers from the Pilgrim group. And, you know, we're just shaking hands. And, you know, I don't know Rese from nobody, but he was awesome, good guy. And we instantly clicked right from that moment. And that's what the environment is like, you know, kind of like a brotherhood. It's weird. It's like, you know, you may not like each other, but all of a sudden it's like, you know, we're all part of this historical event. So it's like we all kind of have to stay, you know, close and you know, in some respects friendly, in some respects we talk shit to each other, but we're still, you know, connected somehow. You know, but my very first fight, you know, we're all buddies. I was buddy with Rob Perez, Mr. Wolf, and he was going around telling people, you know, hey, we were all bullshitting, you know, drinking, you know, having a good time at the pool, and he was telling people, he's like, you know, whoever's fighting me, I'm gonna club them in the neck. I'm gonna take their neck out, and you know, and you know, I didn't know I was fighting them, but you know, we're all, you know, laughing and shit like that. But this motherfucker was serious. So, so of course, I get the wolf, and you know, the very first hit, he clubbed me right in the neck, right in the throat, and took me out. I blacked out. I didn't know anything else from that moment on. It was all autopilot and adrenaline. Like everything you saw from me shaking the hand, doing the slick back. You know, I don't remember.
I don't remember doing none of that.
I don't remember
that
none
wasn't
of that.
even me. That was King Ryan. That wasn't even me.
Just me freaking out. Yep. So afterwards, you know, after waking up, maybe an hour and a half later, and then getting back into the hotel and then going to sleep and waking up the next day, I woke up like, I ain't doing this shit. This is insane. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm looking at my cell phone. It says Dana White loves you, and you know, the producer Gary DeFranco is like, you did it, you killed it, and you know, I'm like, killed what? I don't remember shit. Like, what? Tell me what happened. I'm like, can I say the match? Because I don't know what happened. I didn't know I did this. I didn't know. You know, I'm like, what happened? Like, and then you know, you know, I never been in that type of situation where I just completely don't remember anything, and especially a moment that big. And I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. And yeah, that thought went through my head and raced through my mind for a good couple of weeks until I got the call for the Ultimate Fighter of Power Slap, and then it was like, all right, game on. I'm gonna get my revenge on the Wolf. Yeah,
yeah. I need that back.
Yeah, I'm gonna run that back. So yeah, the very first fight, that it definitely crossed my mind. Fuck this.
Yeah. I agree with you, bro, because I deal with a gentleman named John Sassone and other people who write the medical papers for the medical journals for doctors to learn off of. And we just, everybody's always wanting to talk about the rehydration in MMA and combat sports. That's the number one killer. When it really isn't. I mean, the massive weight cut, the rehydration is what kills you. Because what they do is when they take all that liquid out of their system, basically you're taking the white of the yolk and just leaving the yolk in your head. You're taking everything that protects that yolk. So when you do a massive rehydration, not only are you putting the liquid that you took out, you're putting 3 or 4 times more, which causes pressure on the brain, which causes reticular hemorrhaging. And others is we just finished this paperwork up, and then I started getting really in depth into power slap, and people were talking about reticular hemorrhaging and this and that. But come to find out, power slap is one of the safest sports in combat sports right now, even safer than bare knuckle. I researched it because that's what I believe in. And I always want to do a show and tell the truth and be forthwith about it. But to date, I've not seen anybody critically injured from power slap. I have from bare knuckle. I have from every other aspect of combat sports. Where do you see the line of safety being more for the power slappers than you do in the rest of combat sports?
Well, the rulings and the fact that we actually have doctors, like not nurses, not paramedics, we actually have doctors there. Like, if anything happens to you, you're gonna have
Thank you, bro. I
an
appreciate it.
official licensed, 12 years through college doctor working on you, right? So that's one of the big aspects. The rules are a big aspect, but I do have to say that recently there's been quite a few changes with the rules that me myself personally I don't like the lifting of the heels. You're allowed to lift the heels now, and that used to be a step, but now they're allowing it. And I think that's getting to a point where you're throwing more of a fastball rather than a slap. So I think they need to go back to traditional rules of just keeping the feet on the ground. Hopefully they get back to that. But I think it probably has to deal with lacerations, because in other sports, people get cut. In power slap, you don't really see too much of that. You saw Isaiah bleeding, but that was from him shaving. So, it's it. Yes, I guess you could say it is safer if you look at
Thank you,
it
bro.
by statistics wise. But I wouldn't say that a career would have the longevity as it does in MMA or boxing or any other sport that you're able to defend yourself.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked it that way is because I deal exclusively in bare knuckle and jiu-jitsu now. And, a lot of people harp about the bare knuckle aspect, and I can kind of see why. But, it's a very safe sport. But I don't see injuries, like I do in all other aspects. Like you don't see them in power slap. So
Yeah.
it's just, to me, it's refreshing when athletes can go compete, show the world what they're capable, of doing, and both of you walking away. That's a win for me. To me, that's a win in the sport in general. Steve, I know I've been a mic hog the whole show, but I've been wanting Ryan on for like, I guess, about probably a year and a half, 2 years now. And so, I mean, I kind of ran with it, but brother, I'll turn the floor over to you so you can get some questions in here with him.
Yeah, Ryan. So I want to know, Rese said before how he got the first email from you at Power Slap. How did you get the phone call, get into doing Power Slap? Like how'd that come about?
Yeah, it was really unique because the way that I got in was my friend just said, "Hey, my friend likes slap fighting," and he said he would be perfect for slap fighting because and his friend ended up being Gary DeFranco, the producer for the Road to the Title show and Ultimate Fighter. So the way I got in was just basically by word of mouth. And I just got a text message saying, "Hey, this is Gary with the UFC. I heard you were interested in slap fighting,"
Wow.
That's
um,
dope.
which I have saved. So Yeah, that's how I got in. I had kind of the friend that actually I guess applied me to this. He's seen me, fight in the streets. There's been times where, things got heated, and I'm a guy who doesn't take shit. I'm That's why me and Rese get along so well. We both don't take any shit. If it comes our way, it's either gonna get dealt with, or we're gonna escalate it to the point where it's just gonna be complete destruction all around us. So, um, it's he's seen me in those moments. I also trained at Strong Style in Independence, Ohio. I trained boxing, and I dabbled in other things here and there with some friends. But I'm a tough guy, so they thought that would be a good thing. But who knew? I didn't realize I was stepping into Dana White's power slap. It was.
Yeah.
We didn't know. None of us knew, and this is actually before the Road to the Title show. But we did an event in Vegas called the Qualifier a year prior to the show even starting. So none of us knew what the hell was going on. A lot of people showed up and they were like, "What the hell are we doing here?" And then all of a sudden we're at the UFC Apex Center, lined up with all the Ultimate Fighter jerseys signed by all the coaches and the fighters. And then Dana White pops out and says, "Hey, welcome to Power Slap." We're all like, "What the hell is going on here?" So yeah, it's really cool, man. It's good to be a part of.
And you also said about Rese when he changed it up from the right to the left. Which would you prefer? Would you get 3 slaps in the round? So which would you prefer getting slapped? All 3 slaps on one side, or what would you prefer? It was like your choice.
Honestly, for me, I try to have the mentality of just not caring, because if you start caring about what's going to happen, especially on the defensive side, you're going to get in your head, and something's going to, that little bit of that piece of fear might creep in, and that little bit of fear and thought in your mind will probably get you knocked out. If you when I got knocked out, I felt a big pain in my brain after I got clubbed in the face by the bell. And there was all sorts of red alarms going off. I knew I was getting knocked out the next hit. So, yeah, I went up there and just took it. I would say probably the best would be to get hit with the right and then get hit with the left and then hit with the right, because, you want the pain to kind of settle down between rounds. But me, I'm a maniac. Just hit me right all the time. I don't care, right or left. Give it to me.
Shit, I'm married to a 5-foot Mexican lady, and I don't want even her to slap me once. So I don't give a shit if it's with a left or a right.
Hey, just don't piss her off. You'll be fine, Don.
Shit. Oh, hey, you don't even. I could be asleep and get knuckled on. So hey, hey, why do you think I'm in this damn collar? No, I'm
Hey, it was a rough night.
The whole thing about power slap, a lot of people, we're kind of taken back by it. But I think people are more inept to it now, and they're clinging to it. I seen an interview that Dana did, and he said that power slap truly rests more now in his heart than the UFC. And I've known Dana for a long time, and he don't make statements that aren't true. So it's tremendous to see somebody like Dana White. God, whose audio is that?
That's mine. My earbud just died. Hold on, I'm gonna get another one.
Man, we're going to the 98-cent store, bruh. But it was really exhilarating to see Dana have so much interest and heart in the power slap, because when I saw that, then I knew he was going to put a lot of money into it. And then about a month later, I seen him do another interview, and he said, "I'm going to invest more money in power slap than I ever have before." How does it make you feel now that you're still integrated with the company? You're not per se power slapping anymore, but now you're integrated with the company. You're moving forward. Where does the road go for Ryan Phillips?
Good question. Hopefully, with my coaching pedigree and what I showed them, I also had a one-on-one coaching session with the president and the matchmaker of the company before. I trained Kalani. I'm not going to say his last name because I'm not going to disrespect him that way. I'm not going to butcher that last name, but I trained Kalani in front of Frank the President and Erica, and I think that was kind of like a test. I think they were trying to see how good I am. Am I a good coach? And then with the live events, I proved it to Dana. Dana actually cut off someone's conversation just to yell at me and say I was one of the greatest coaches he's seen. So, I think with that, I think I may have solidified myself as a coach in some respects. I don't know what aspect of coaching I'm going to be brought in for, or anything, or even if I'm even going to be brought in at this point. I never tried to get my hopes up. So, I just hope maybe something in the future, or some people have said a Hall of Fame bid. I'm humble. I don't know. I hope that would be so cool, especially for being the first main event. I think I think a lot of things that I've done. I was the first power slap striker on the UFC's Instagram. I was one of the first to be shown off, and I think I have a lot of attributes that maybe it could land me in the Hall of Fame, and I would be happy. I would be on cloud nine if that happened.
You never know, and with me, don't wish for things because they may come true someday. But you made a statement early on in your career, and it caught my attention. It says, "To whoever is standing in front of me, you're going to see the slap from the gods and the King of Kings, baby." What possessed you to make a statement like that? Because I think you put fear in a lot of people. And that statement right there would have scared the shit out of me if I had to go, across the table from you. What inspired you to make such a statement, brother?
Hey, you said it. Possession, man. I'm possessed by the king. That's the king mode in me, buddy. I'm going up there. I'm gonna take your head off. I'm not leaving without the victor. I'm going up there to kill you, and I'm going up there to be killed. So that was my whole mentality the whole entire time I ever did this. If I was going to do it, I wanted to do it 100%. So it was fight or flight every time I went up there. You weren't watching Ryan Phillips, you were watching the king. So that's where that came from.
I love that. Hey Steve, can we go ahead and just for 1 second, can we throw Rese up in the big box for a second?
Yeah.
Because these two guys have created such a path in power slap. It's amazing. Rese, like I said, everybody knows we're brothers, but you surprised me that night when you said, "I got the dog in me." What was it? What was it in the mind, the heart, the sentiment of Rese Archer that just brought it out? Because I watched that episode. You were
Classic.
so profound. Yeah, well, it was classic, brother.
Classic episode.
What was it in the heart, the soul, the mind of Rese Archer that had you say that statement?
Man, my story, Don. Man, I've been through so much, man. Just like
Yeah,
being a
but I'm
kid.
trying to tell your story, bro. So you got to explain it to the people.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I've been through it. A lot of people don't know me, so it's like I've been through a lot. I didn't have no mom, I didn't have no dad growing up. I didn't have any of that stuff. So, and I felt like I was I just had one of those moments in the back before I got on the platform where I just had like my whole life kind of flash before my eyes, and I'm like, if this gonna be the moment for greatness, then I'm ready for it, And I'm just like, he must don't know all the stuff I've been through. He can't hurt me. He can't do. There's nothing he could do to me in these 3 rounds that I haven't experienced in life itself. It's just been real hard being out here by myself in this world. So yeah, I got that dog in me, and he don't know yet, but he gonna find out.
Well, right now you have 2 back-to-back MMA fights. You're in Chicago MMA. Before that, you had been Vegas, Texas. The world seems to be calling Rese Archer. Rese Archer is finally gaining his claim to fame. Do you believe that Power Slap put you on the right path, or do you believe it's just a culmination of right moves, especially with the coach that you got now, considering that he goes all the way back to the Pride days?
Man, I think it's all just been been a correlation. You know, even with the stuff that happened with Power Slap, I wasn't really kind of like solidified in being there. I wasn't really like confident like that I made it to the big leagues. You know, I just was like, damn, this is probably just another introduction, and I want to make it a big one. You know, I want to make it a big splash. So I wasn't really more like I wasn't thinking about it like how everybody else was thinking about it, because I wasn't, like I said, like I wasn't thinking like, damn, I made it to the big leagues. I just made it. I just knew I made it somewhere big, and I wanted to just be able to make sure I show up, just not for myself, but for anybody else that was kind of counting on me to be in this position that I was in. You know, I just wanted to make sure I make a big splash in the sport, and I wanted to do right by Dana for being able to bring me on. You know, so that's just some things I was just dealing with at that time.
Yeah. You know, and I think it's tremendous that we worked this show out the way me and Steve did, having both of you on, because you both respect each other. You both gained admiration for each other. What is it about King Ryan that had you cultivate or lean towards him?
Man, it was crazy. It's just like I really remember the first time I met Ryan. It was like he said when we was hanging out in the lobby, and we was like I was finishing up paperwork because I was new to being there, and I think Ryan had just kind of flown in, and they needed him to kind of touch up on some paperwork as well. And I was looking at him, and it was just one of them things like, you know, when two dogs walk past each other in the park, they just like, I don't really know about this motherfucker yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too close. I might bite his ass. He might bite me, you know, type shit. But then once we got to getting around each other, and I was just really listening to Ryan's personality in the back, I'm just like, I'm love being a fly on the wall when I'm observing what's going on around me. So listening to Ryan talk, man, he was just so like fired up about Power Slap and what he was trying to do moving forward. He was very, very not optimistic, just but very just like what is that word, man? Like he was just like really, really excited for what was to come for the
ecstatic.
future. Yeah, he was really ecstatic, man. So it was just like everything was good. Everything was like super, super positive with Ryan on his end. It wasn't not in there. I didn't like, you know, when you don't see nobody, when you see somebody and they don't talk, and then when they talk, you kind of get a feel for what type of person they is. And I was just like, damn, Ryan is like a version of me. You know what I mean? Like he like talking shit. He love having a good time. You know, and he don't give a fuck if he rub you the wrong way, because he's still gonna be motherfucking Ryan. You know, so it was like, you either gonna hate it or love it. It ain't for everybody, baby. But shit. And I was
hey,
like,
that's why we all get along.
And it was just raw, positive, pure energy. Was no negative and no malice connected to Ryan. You know, just and then the whole mission, he understood it. You know, and I was just like kind of like shadowed him from that. And I was like, let me kind of like follow him a little bit and see where he's going with this, with his mindset and what he's talking. Because I didn't know what to think about Power Slap or any of that stuff. So I didn't even know that they had a episode that they did a year before and all that stuff. Yeah. You know, I'm literally fresh booty on the scene. You know, so I'm like, I'm trying to tread softly. I'm trying to not rub nobody the wrong way at the same time. Hold my poker face strong. You know, so because I want to show people that I'm a game opponent as well, you know, and I'm here for the show, you know.
Most definitely, but don't say that about your booty, bro. You in Chicago, you know? That ain't a nice place to bring up your booty, you know. I don't bring politics up on my show, and Steve, this is actually Steve's show tonight, and I apologize. I'm not going to talk politics, but there's a certain UFC fighter that is garnering a lot of attention for his stupid comments, and that being Bryce Mitchell. Between you and Ryan, King Ryan, if either one of you had an opportunity to face him in Power Slap, would you?
Yeah.
You know, I don't turn down no phase.
Rese, do you know who Bryce Mitchell is? He's a current UFC fighter.
I know who he is, but I don't know what happened, honestly. I really just seen like a brief synopsis of something that a YouTuber like kind of did a breakdown of the Jackson podcast and what kind of happened on there, but I don't really know what happened with Bryce Mitchell or what he said or anything like that. They got everybody feathers ruffled or anything like that. I don't know anything about that.
Well, he pretty much praised Hitler, and I'm not going to go into any more political aspects of that, but if you're a good old country boy and you're praising Hitler, it ain't going to work out too good for you in the South. I can tell you that.
You don't need to say too much after that. That says all we need to
know. You know, but what I loved about your walk, Rese, and we're going to get, you know, God, Steve, I'm so sorry. I'm hogging the mic tonight.
No. I'm listening.
I'm just enjoying the shit out of this because these are two
Yeah.
great individuals. Well, it's like when you're in the sport for 41 years, and I think I've done 11,000 shows now, and a lot of them sometimes become monotonous. And so, like I was telling Steve earlier, this really got me all excited because I don't generally jump into the world of power slap. I kind of correlated myself with bare knuckle because it's the end of my career, and BYB is a tremendous promotion. Hats off to Mike Vasquez. I know you may not feel the same way, but everybody has their opinion. The one thing I think it's great about life is it's the continuum. So after it was all said and done, first to you, Rese, after it was all said and done, you have to move forward. But what did you take away as a man from Power Slap? Not as a participant, but as a man.
Man, that's crazy you asked me that. You always got the best questions, Don.
Yeah.
You be having the real brain busters, dog. But for me, that was a deep one because after the reality show was over, because we all went through a lot being on that show, and then when it was over, for me, you get that dose of reality that kind of set in, and you like, damn, this shit about to be on TV. So I had to deal with a lot of that, and I was dealing with that, and at the same time, I had to like really think about my actions and was I happy with myself the way I performed, and would I change anything if I could go back? Would I do things differently? Because me, I don't really tend to regret a lot of stuff that I do, but certain things and certain aspects I do. As a man, you have to be accountable for what you do, and your place and what you take a part of, whatever you take in a part of. So me, I did do like some like humbling stuff that happened for me after my match because I was so at loss with how I lost. I didn't know if I got knocked out. I didn't know if he really slapped me legally and they just let the shit ride. I didn't know what to think because we didn't get to see no instant replays. So I'm like instantly I'm getting hard on myself. I'm disciplining myself and my own actions and what I did and my part I took in the house and how I was perceived to the world, all that, and I really kind of got on myself about that. And I was like, man, I should have stayed more in more I should have been more accountable for Rese in that moment and not allow myself to like let some of my old self show itself as ugly face on the show. I felt like because it didn't give people a good impression of me, because when I was like walking around in Vegas and people recognized me from the show or whatever, it was people that was really pretty much scared to approach me. Like I was basically that guy that was unapproachable and they were all whispering and pointing. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on? I forgot I was on TV, like why are they pointing and whispering and what's going on? Like, you can walk up on me and say hello if that's the case, but nobody was doing that with me. I was that scary guy. I was the villain on the show there in a sense, So having that happen, I was like, yeah, I want to make sure that I can kind of like get another chance to, if I do get another chance, just to kind of like show the world who I really am as a person, because they didn't really get to see the good version of me. A lot of people did in the house, like Ryan. Ryan got to see the best versions of myself, A lot of people did, but the public didn't get to see that, And they made it seem like I was something like a bully or something like that, and I
A
wasn't,
villain. Yeah,
And
a
I was
villain.
more of a person that was trying to maintain order in a sense, So I didn't get that. I didn't get that light shined on me in that aspect for my good attributes that I was trying to show. So, but it's TV and we sign up for what we sign up for, and it is how it is, and we get played how we get played. At the end of the day, all I could do is be responsible for how I was acting in a sense. So that's what allowed that door to open for me to be seen in that light. Then it is what it is. Any publicity is good publicity at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to perplex the same question to Ryan, and then I'm going to let Steve take over. Ryan, what did you gain as a man, not as a participant, but what was your main takeaway as a man from Power Slap?
Yeah, it was like Reese said, we all went through a grueling time. It was a great time, don't get me wrong, but it was grueling. We didn't have any outside connection with the outside world. no TV, radio, all the sensibilities that you had from home. You no longer have. You're living with 20 animals. They're just a bunch of testosterone fueled gorillas in this household. Some of them getting drunk. The howler head bottle gets empty. You turn around next second, it's back to full. I don't know how it happened, but none of us know. But
None of us know.
none of us know. There's just beer coming out of the clouds. Who knows? But it was shocking. It really tested my limits because I'm not really someone who likes to be around people all the time. I like my alone time. I like my space. But for me, I gained a lot of confidence, and I overcame a lot of things in my own head. I'm a person that sometimes I don't fully believe in myself. And Power Slap helped me fully believe in myself, because if I didn't, I was a dead man. If you don't fully believe in yourself at the moment that you're at that table, and as I said, if there's any sort of like fear that comes into play before you take that slap, it could be detrimental. It could be, you on the ground. So I had to fully believe in myself that I could take these hits, and it pushed me into where I am now. And a lot of people saw me fight Big Nate the Great, Buffalo Soldier, Nate Bernard, and everyone ruled me out. I was a 6-1 underdog, and in my own head, I see this 6'4" mammoth of a man. He actually looks like a buffalo, and when I signed on the fight, I'm like, I'm going to lose the coin toss. I know it. And sure enough, I lost the coin toss. So the whole time, with Power Slap, slap fighting in general, the coin toss is obviously so really crucial, but it's also crazy for your mind, because, you're either going up there throwing the first strike, and you heard me with Wolf. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to knock him out and not take a hit. And my mindset's all like, I'm going to go up there and bully him. And then with this one with Nate, it's like, man, I'm about to take this big boy's, almost 300-pounder dude on the Buffalo Bills security team. Like, I'm about to take this dude's slap. But you know what? I like I said, I learned to fully believe in myself, and I just went into I don't even know, incredible trance prior to that match, days prior. And I never felt anything like it. It was like electricity in my blood. Like I felt just like not power. I just felt like this crazy uplift. I was uplifted. I felt tranquil. I felt like nothing could stop me. And then the fight happened, and it was like, wow. And it just blew my mind all over again. So believing in myself, and actually knowing and teaching the world that I have some big fucking balls.
Yeah, you both got some big fucking balls. But see, there's a part of this sport and part of Power Slap that people don't want to talk about. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, because you guys were the participants. People said you guys weren't athletes. They called you guys dumbasses, saying that you guys were going to get hurt and all of this. How much did that aspect drag you down, or did it at all? And secondly, when you really look at the whole picture, whether anybody believes that it deserves to be in the sport, you created a legacy. You created a legacy for King Ryan, Rese Archer, all the other people that were on Power Slap. But how hard was it for you to dictate in your own brain to overcome all the obstacles that people were throwing at you guys, saying, it isn't a sport, you're not athletes, you guys are dumbasses standing there letting everybody slap the crap out of you? And now I look at the sport differently myself. You guys are athletes. You guys do train. It takes dedication and perseverance. So how hard was that for you, Ryan, to overcome that aspect that the sport threw at you and kind of made you walk?
Yeah, I never let it get to me at all, really, because reading those types of comments, it would either make me laugh, and not only that, but it pushed me to prove them wrong, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to keep proving everyone wrong, and I wanted to show them that this is a sport, that does take skill. I looked at matches differently in my own right. I actually made a defense. People are like, "There's no defense in this." There sure is. There's a lot of defense in this, actually, and a lot of stuff you don't really think about. And I actually I credit my schooling from college, because I was actually going to school to be in radiology and nuclear medicine, and I went through anatomy and physiology classes, so I knew parts of the face, where muscles and nerves are, and things of that sort. And there's different things that you can do that could prevent you from getting knocked out from a normal slap. But some guys, they like to put their heel of their hand into it and give you a good whacker, and that's not legal. But hey, it does some damage. But and then you got the slap itself. I trained boxing as strong style, and I have to credit a lot to that as well, because it's just like throwing a hook, basically, but it's just throwing the biggest hook of your life. It's coming down all the way from the back of the room all the way to the front of the room. It's a punch, but you gotta know how to shift your weight. And then with the rulings, as it was when me and Rese first started, you had to keep your feet grounded. So that was another layer of skill that you needed to learn, and you needed to figure out. So I mean, there's a lot of things that the fans didn't know. Obviously, it's brand new, so you're gonna get hate. And then when you saw the UFC when it first started, I'm old enough to know how that went. Everyone was saying, "Oh, people are gonna die left and right. Dude's arm is gonna fly off."
Human cockfighting.
Human cockfighting. Yeah, New York shut it down. They're like, fuck this shit. And so I was like, you know what? That's basically probably what it is. It's just people hating because they don't know what it is yet. And then when they find out, it's gonna progress and hopefully be something big.
Ryan, we got a question, Don, from a UFC fighter. Charles Boston Strong Rosa asks, how much are they paying for slaps?
I never talk about pay, because I don't think it's anyone's business how much we get paid, but we get paid enough.
I think he wants to do it. He's a UFC fighter.
All right, go to powerslap.com and sign up and figure it out from there, buddy.
It's real easy, Charles. Yeah, we're not going to talk about money.
Everybody's pay structure is different.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about money, because I'm not going to put anybody's job or title or anything at stake. But I know one thing, and I can break the ice real quick. Yeah, they pay really good. Yeah, they do. But I don't want to really get into it, because I can get in trouble too. But the bottom line is, both of you guys are rooting for slapping ass for the rest of your lives, because now you have no control with that slap. So you'll never smack a woman on the ass again, bro. The bottom line is,
I was just smacking ass last night.
I was gonna say, actually, for some reason, it brings more smacking into our lives. It's completely reversed.
My life.
And a lot of people come up to me like, "Hey, man, will you slap me?" And I'm like, "Hell no!" And they're like, "If I pay you, will you slap?" I'm like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here."
Dude, get the fuck out of here.
What are you thinking, man?
But in all fairness to Charles Rosa, he's a young UFC fighter, a tremendous UFC fighter. He's got great talent, great striking. But hey, Rosa, I would stay where you're at right now until Dana cuts your pay, and then come to Power Slap. But it's up to you, brother. I mean, you want to get hit for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or do you want to, take 3 strikes to the face and call it a night? It's up to you, brother. But I love what you do in the UFC octagon. I would just keep doing it. These two right here are rare breeds. I'm not saying you're not, but these two gentlemen were built for Power Slap, man. And like I said, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't even a fan of bare knuckle. I've been with bare knuckle for many years, and it was and then I saw Mark Irwin and Julio Tenori fight, in Denver, Colorado. And any man that grows a second freaking head has a bursted eardrum, looks like his ear has been ripped off, a fractured orbital, a fractured nose, a broken jaw, and doesn't quit? Of course I'm going to fucking respect you, and I'm going to start watching this sport because I didn't like the kid, because the first time I met him, I said, "What's up, Mark?" He said, "Fuck you." And I said, "Bro, whoa, come back here, bro." I said, I'm with the promotion." He said, "Well, the promotion told me to do that." I said, "The promotion didn't tell you to flip me off, son." So I brought him on my show, and I kind of gave him a little bit of an ass smacking, just to make him feel stupid. But when I seen the kid fight in Denver and not give up, how could you not respect somebody like that? The same with you guys. I watched Dumpling. I watched all you guys get the shit smacked out of you. And you guys just stand there. And you know what? I don't have the balls to do it. I'll be honest. That's why I use a camera. I made my claim to fame with a fucking camera, because I'm not letting my wife slap me, and I'm not letting Dumpling or any of you slap me. But I just want to know one thing before I pass it to Steve. And I know I asked a little bit earlier, and Ryan, you kind of gave an answer, but Rese, how hard did that shit really hurt you when you first got slapped?
Man, when I first got slapped, I honestly didn't feel it. I went against Nikolai's soul coach. So like
Oh,
I
that was
was
that
actually
weak
kind of in the
one.
back thinking like I was going to get knocked out, because he knocked out a professional slapper, and that was his first slap match, and he knocked out a guy that's now the champion at 85, and I was like, man, what the fuck? I'm ready to get my chin tested, because I've never been knocked out, so I'm just like so geeked, like fuck it, hit me, like, so let me see what this shit do. And I'm like, shit, let me see if I get knocked out or not. And that's what I was more curious about when I first got up there, because I wanted to see if I could take a hit or not. I knew I could take a punch, but take a slap, I was really curious to see would my chin stand the test to that. And Lord and behold, it did. I got clubbed all 3 times, and I ate them. I didn't even move, didn't even flinch. I think what was my second match was against Asael, and that was more of a slap. His shit wasn't slap. Those were all legal hits. So you gotta watch the slow mo. I got kind of shafted in that match, but his slaps or clubs or illegal strikes were more of were the first one I didn't feel. The second two, and that second one for real, when he pushed me over, I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, damn, is that how it really feels? Because it felt like I got punched. I'm like, did I get punched? I didn't know what to think. And I got up and I was like, well, I know he didn't hit me because that shit illegal. But after seeing the slow-mo and seeing the slow motion reactions and stuff, I'm like, he illegal palm strike me, pushed me over on the second slap, and then on the third one, he literally illegal palm strike hit me right here and hit me all behind my head. The powder showed you where his hand placement was at, and that was just kind of the thing that did it for me. Where it was like, I'm like, they tell us the rules of the sport, and they pick and choose who they want the rules to apply to. In that match, I felt like that was one of the matches where they was trying to kind of put me back in my place, because I kind of said some things in the confessional that never made it public on TV. But of course, Dana White is watching it, and he's picking what he sees and editing. Like, we don't like that. We're not putting that on TV. Don't let that be seen type thing. So that's how I figured, why did I get treated like that in my second match? And I thought in my third match going out there, I thought I kind of had a little bit more power than I did when I didn't, because who got more power than the program? Everybody was like, oh, he flinched. And I was like really more like mad at the fact that Jules got robbed in his match against Robert Trujillo. So I'm like, I'm not going to follow the rules. They're not following the rules. I said, I'd be a dummy to stand up here and let somebody just slap me if they're going to call it however they fucking see fit, So I'm just like, I'm gonna go renegade, and I'm gonna turn the other cheek each slap, and I'm not gonna let the guy hit me. So that's where I kind of made my mind up on my third match, that I was kind of probably like not really. I didn't think I was gonna get cut from power slap by doing that, but at the end of the day, I kind of made my bed and I was willing to lay in it, So however the cookie crumbled, I was willing to crumble with the cookie.
Steve?
Yeah, I know you got a fight coming up this weekend. Tell us about this fight coming up February 22nd.
February 22nd, I'll be performing at the Horseshoe Casino in Hammond, Indiana. So I think that's kind of close to you, Ryan. You get some chance. Come on, I got a ticket for you, brother. You
All
know,
right.
I'm not the guy that's normally, like, if you go look at my record, I normally been fighting UFC prospects. I fight guys with winning records, and I haven't been able to kind of get my foot in the door in the sport and like really picking my fights, you know, or getting the right fights for me, I should say. You know, even the guy I'm fighting as an amateur, he was a UFC prospect, even though he's 0-1 right now. I'm fighting a guy that's 0-1, but 2 weeks after this, I'll be fighting another UFC prospect that's 9-0 in Detroit. And yeah, so and I'm just looking to step up to the plate and shock the world and just actually take my rightful claim back in the winning department, you know. So I'm going to get my first official MMA win, which I'm really excited about, man. And I'm declaring it a knockout.
That's dope. That's
First
dope.
round knockout.
First round knockout. Yes, I am.
So,
One punch, baby.
He's a Serbian guy. I think his name is something. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try. But yeah, I just know he's a Serbian guy, and he was as an amateur, he was undefeated 5-0. He took his first first professional loss 3 months back. I'm going to be his second professional fight. I don't think he's ready for me, you know, and I'm looking to definitely like send him on his way and let him know MMA is not for him. This is not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be like my last 3 fights. I've actually, like I said, I've been training at Chicago MMA. I've been working on my cardio, highlighting on my attributes, and my reaction time is just so different right now. I'm just a different fighter, and I'm just ready to go show the world what I actually bring to the table.
What kind of MMA fighter are you?
I'm a knockout artist. And I'm a
like
finisher. I got 100% finish rate. Even with my 2 wins, I'm still at 100%, and I'm looking to keep it like that. Win or lose, I'm winning or losing on my terms, and I wouldn't have it no other way.
That's right, baby.
That's dope. That's dope. I like that. You know, because that's really how you got to be, man. I mean, the only thing that surprises me about sports anymore was the involved. How do you say it? Ryan, you got me messing up my words tonight. But the evolution of the women into power slap.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you this. I'm stoked. I mean, you know, I guess like I could say it like Dave Caveman Rickles does. When I seen the implementation of women into power slap, I got a war boner, bro. It was like, let's bring it. Let's do this, because they completely encapsulated the whole thing now. And the structure has changed. It's getting better. But see, what I got a question for both of you, and I'll let you ask first, Rese. See, a lot of people don't really understand. They only get a certain portion, a certain allotment of, you know, real estate on your face.
Yeah.
Who makes that call? Is it Jason Herzog? Who makes the call right there that it's a foul, clubbing, or anything? Because the amount of, you know, space that they get to slap you is very, very small, you know, to eliminate a lot of injuries. So what type of practice and things like that do they go to make sure that you get hit properly?
Man, honestly, we don't know what the referees are being actually trained on and who's training these guys, because at least for me, when I was on the first couple seasons or first couple episodes of what was being shown to the world, like I said, they'll give us this spiel in the back, like every fighter. If you ever been to any MMA events or coaching or boxing events, they tell you the fighters meeting, and the referee go over the do's and the don'ts and the rules and what's to be expected from each person and all that stuff. And we got the same rundown from our referees, you know, and like my first match was perfect. You know, Nikolai got called for all his clubs. Everything was on point. My slaps was clean, and nothing was a problem. And then the next guy, one of the UFC vet, he was a vet. That guy obviously was sleeping on the job in my match. You know, he only seen what I obviously didn't do wrong, you know, and made it an issue. And then didn't see nothing that Asael did. So I don't know who trained that guy, you know. I don't know who trained that guy, but he needs to go back to training school. He obviously didn't get the memo of what the illegal hits look like in the hand placement and what it's supposed to look like. I felt like the powder itself is not even just for the theatrical part, but just more or less so the referees know where the hand lands. You know, that's what I would think the whole point of the powder for the hand is, you know. So for them to not recognize the actual hand placement, then we do the slow-mos, and then they can actually look at the videos. It's no reason for it to be, for anything to get called the way it get called. You know, I think accountability is lacking for sure in the sport, and I think favoritism should not be a thing. That's the only reason why I think I like slap fighting itself as much, because it doesn't matter who you are on slap fighting. You got to follow the rules. The rules apply to everybody, and I think as power slap as it progresses, that hopefully that it becomes more that the rules get followed. Because if they're not following the rules, then you're not protecting the fighters, and if the fighters not feeling protected, what are we doing here then? And at what point is it still a sport? And there's like, then you have to worry about guys like me that want to retaliate because I'm not being protected. And if I'm not being protected, I might as well do my own thing then, right? I might as well turn this into a real shit show, you know. And that's what I think, you know. But long as they I like what Ryan was saying when he said that they changed the rule to lifting the foot, and they need to go back to that, because that's a real skill. And by them not applying that and holding that as an accountability in the sport, because if you can't, that shows you real skill, that if you can generate that much power and deliver a knockout without moving your feet, then you actually deserve to be in the sport, and you really care about what the sport stands for, you know. And that, I just feel like you're just making it that much more easier, giving people an excuse by allowing them to do that, because the only way you should be able to lift your foot is like as you make contact. Once you make contact, you're allowed to lift your feet, not before, you know. And that actually made sense. And they're not doing that, and they're just trying to make it good for the ratings and trying to get the knockouts. And that's what makes it a show for them, you know. It doesn't matter how they get the knockout, as long as they get the knockout.
Well, let's use you as an example. You know, one of your last power slap fights. You know, you fouled out.
Yeah.
Had the rule set be then what they've changed it to now, you wouldn't have been counted out.
I would be one of the best slappers then, technically, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you wouldn't have fouled out. You know,
That's
so
what I
I
was
mean,
thinking. I said they changed the rules. Coincidentally, when I'm not in the sport anymore, I'm like, if those were still the rules and I was there, I'm pretty sure I'd probably be one of the best slappers, if not the champion right now. You know, so but hey, we here with this now.
Well, you know, I'm in accordance with Ryan. I think they should go back to the main rule set, keep it that way, don't change it, because if you allow somebody to lift their feet, then their hip can swivel. They could put a lot more rotation into the slap. And I'm in accordance with you. If I can slap you flat-footed and knock your ass out, that takes some talent. I mean, but if I'm allowed to move my feet, move my hip, I'm not too cool with that, you know. But you guys are the first products of the beginning of Power Slap, so it's a tremendous thing. We know it's going to evolve. We know things are going to change, but some things are best left alone. And I think the foot staying on the ground is tremendous, and I would love to see it put there. You know, Ryan, I want to ask you a question before I hand it to Steve, because you really made this show happen, and I know that you put it out there. People don't really believe that you're actually retiring. We've talked about that, but how bittersweet is it, brother? I mean, because I know for me, when I hung my cameras up in 21, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I had a choice to either be blind from looking through a camera for 41 years, or hang my cameras up and get a pair of glasses and be able to see again. You know, I still wanted to shoot fights because I got 2 mouths to feed. But
yeah,
where does Ryan Phillips go from here? And what would you like to try to conquer next?
You know, it's yeah, it definitely is bittersweet. I would like to, you envision in your mind just having another match and just going out there and and just having that perfect moment, going out on top like that. But I'm on top. I've already been on top. I've been on top this entire time. I've been
The
number one pretty
king.
much. Yeah, I've been number one pretty much the entire time I've been in this organization at heavyweight. The only time I wasn't number one is when they stacked people who haven't even fought in Power Slap above me, and those were legends like Darius the Destroyer and Wolverine. And that to me, I've done a lot for this sport. I've been, all over the world for this thing. I've done things that I never thought I would do. Shook hands with Dana White. I have, 70 million. I have videos that have 70 million views on the internet somewhere. Like, whoever thought I would have more views than Taylor Swift or someone, like that. Yeah, what I mean, like I've accomplished so many things in Power Slap in such a short time, I guess you could say. I mean, it's been 3 years. March will be 3 years that I've done Power Slap. So, I'm happy with where I'm at. I have a great job. I have a great future still. And like I said, the way we left off, I'm still a part of Power Slap. How that's going to be, stay tuned. The future will tell. But I do want to, I want to be a prominent figure in this world and continue and try to, make it progress and, maybe be the guy that gets the heels down back in the game, fix it up, try to get the rules back reinstated. There's actually a rule that I'm the one who created the rule that's in Power Slap, and that's it used to be three DQs and a 3-rounder, but I said let's cut that down to 2, and sure enough, we're at 2 DQs and a 3-rounder now, and 3 and a 5. So I've already had some control, and hopefully I get some control again, and I can make this sport great and push it to the next level, and I would love to see it as an Olympic sport. That would be amazing. Yeah. And it's I'm not done yet, but I'm happy with what I've done, and I love showing people that I'm on a fucking trading card. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, hey, bro, I think that's so cool, and I would so much more love to see you guys power slapping than in Olympics than that fucking bitch from Australia that went out there and did breakdancing, and I don't even know what the hell that was, bro. If they're gonna let Ray Gun, yeah.
I seen Ryan bust out some moves better than that.
Hey, give me 6 shots of whiskey, I'll show you some moves.
Hell, take my seizure medication from me from 3 days, and I could still dance better than that.
You're a savage, man.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up because Rese already knows, Steve already knows. A lot of people think I'm a dick. I'm not a dick. I'm very straightforward. I'm very black and white. And if I get up in your feelings, that's your fucking problem, not mine. The bottom line is I don't go out of my way to fuck with nobody, but people want to go out of their way to fuck with me. These things are great, but they don't define you. I got into the sport. I have my master's in engineering science. I have my minor in mechanical engineering technology, and I became a photographer. I was already working for the Hilton as an executive chief engineer.
Wow.
And then I walked into this industry. I was hated from day one. I was hated all the way through my career. And then when I got inducted into the National Boxing Hall of Fame, then it was almost like the entire sport shit on me. The entire sport didn't like me anymore. And, that's a part of this industry that a lot of people don't understand. They won't understand. They never will understand because a lot of these people come to this industry, they work 2-3 years, they expect to be where you're at. Hell, 2-3 years in, I wasn't even where I was at. Nobody even knew my name 2-3 years in. But the bottom line is, if you do what you're supposed to do, don't go to the pre-parties, don't go to the after parties, just go do your fucking job. At the end of the day, you will be where I'm at. I'm no better than anybody on this show. I'm not any more relevant than anybody sitting here. I just did my job. And here in 2025, people could say, well, Things are messed up. Well, you know what? I've been doing this for 41 years. 30 years of it, I was sick. So you can't come at me with excuses. You know, like my grandfather taught me, the world ain't going to stop for you. And I got a wife and a son. So unless either one of you three gentlemen want to pay my food bill and take care of my family, I'm the one that's got to get up and do what I got to do. I'm 3 weeks out from one of the worst cervical spine surgeries that you could possibly have. But I don't make excuses because the world isn't going to stop for me. And if I get an opportunity to come on a show with Steve, the King, and my brother Rese, you better damn well better believe I'm going to be here. But don't hate me because of these, because you know what? Accolades are accolades. You know what? The sport is going to give them to you. But see, people don't want to read past the first page. They don't want to see what you do after that. See, like with Ryan, a lot of people don't know that Ryan and Rese help a lot of underprivileged youth. They help a lot of people in life. But people don't want to hear that side of their story. That's where the original Fighter's Voice, the Fighting News, and a lot of other shows that are coming up are going to that. Because I don't want to hear, oh, what did you do wrong? Your last slap? What are you going to do right your next? No, just come on here, have a great talk. Let people get to know your guests. Let them share their story. You know, Ryan, you created, whether you realize it or not, you created a legacy for yourself. You put your family's name into history. What does that mean, brother? Because I know I promised my wife I would put our family's name into history, and it took me 39 years. Oh. It took you 3. So what does it mean to you, brother, to be able to do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, it means the world. There's a couple of things that I wanted to do with Power Slap, and obviously the ultimate goal was to win the title. But you know, I had the other ultimate goals, because they're just as important, was to make sure that my name lived on and that my parents were shown off to the world. And I got to achieve all of those in a very short amount of time. I mean, I even still pinch myself today, knowing that my parents were on a nationally syndicated TV show on TBS, being shown to 2 million viewers at one point. So it's just a surreal moment. It was very surreal. It's still surreal to me. I mean, even sitting here right now with people like yourself, Don, and Rese too. I mean, Rese is a fantastic human being, and obviously a great fighter. You know, the guy single-handedly put "I got that dog in me" out to the world. I mean, I hear it and I immediately think of Rese. I'm like, it's crazy, but you know, it's very important to me that I got to accomplish those things. I never really thought that I would be able to, but I did. And like I said, it all culminates into today. You know, I'm able to retire happily. You know, I know I will continue. I still have friends in this game, and you know, people still want to hear my story, which is amazing. And hopefully, I can still do good. You know, I still want to give back as much as I can. Hopefully, I can work with the local Legend Foundation. Shout out to them here in Cleveland, and do more with them. But it's all worth it, man. Even though the blows to the head were gnarly, and you know, sometimes your leg shuts off and you can't feel your leg for a second there, or you know, you're blind for a couple minutes and you're standing there waiting for your eye to come back on. It was all worth it, man. It's definitely it's surreal and definitely a dream come true. Unrealized.
Yeah, brother. 10 years from now, you'll look back at it and it'll be completely different for you. And you know, I would never want to be your son, because, you know, it's like if my dad said, I'm going to slap the shit out. No, you're not. I'm running away. I'm running away.
Better be careful, boy. Behave.
You know, right? You know, but Rese, let me ask you the same question before we kind of wrap things up. You came from the streets of Michigan, you know, and I could say this because you're my family. And if anybody has anything to say, that's their problem, you know, and I don't want to disrespect my brother Steve, but you came from the hood, bro. you came from situations where I even backed away from you, where, it was like, I didn't want to see my brother die. I wanted to see a young man that I'm trying to build come up. And you did. And you shocked the world, and you even shocked yourself. You had viral moments, situations with Nate Diaz. You got opportunities in Power Slap. You keep continuing to grow. But what does it mean to Rese Archer to look at your daughter and tell her that you put your family's name into history? You created a path for your daughter. What does that mean to you, my brother?
Man, it means everything, Don, because coming, like I said, I was definitely seeking for a way out, and I needed a positive outlet, to be able to like express myself in a positive way where people don't kind of like shame me for my anger or me being feeling like I'm misplaced in a sense. So being able to get on these platforms and go viral, which I never intended on doing, I never intended on being a viral sensation. I didn't even know what to do when it happened. I was just like, wow, that I'm viral. I'm like trying to comprehend what that even means or anything like that. And I just want my daughter at the end of the day to be proud of me and want her to know that anything that she set her mind to doing that she can accomplish. You gotta not be afraid to put yourself out there and then you just take the leap of faith and just even if you can't swim, figure it out, because God won't put too much on your plate that you can't handle. And I just know that I've been blessed to be in a lot of situations and I've been receiving opportunity after opportunity and Power Slap was definitely a tremendous opportunity. And it's like anything else. I know it's not over for me. I got a lot more stuff coming up that I'm not at liberty to disclose yet, but I'm still going to shock the world. And with the shocking has only begun with Power Slap and the few viral moments I've had, and I just want to be able to just kind of like turn that around and just really kind of show people that you can really carve your own lane out in this world, and you can, if there's something negative going on in your life, you can find a positive in it because two negatives make a positive. So just make a positive, turn it into a positive situation, no by any means necessary, and that's what I would like. That's what I would like to be remembered as, and that's what I want my legacy to be stand for. Just not giving up and just being persistent, and being consistent, and just even with the losses, it's still a win. It's still a win because it's the lesson there. And I could be in prison, I could be dead, I could be strung out on drugs or something. And God knows I'm not a drug addict and I'm not addicted to drugs, but that could have been my life, and it hasn't been. And I chose to take a different path. And anybody that's listening and watching and you hearing it from me first, that it ain't never over. It's only over if you want it to be over. If you decide to sit down and quit, just know you're only quitting on yourself. And then whenever you decide you want to get up and go again, you can, and just and give it your all. Don't give up on yourself, man.
That's so dope, brother. I could sit here for 3 hours and talk to you guys. Actually, the crazy thing is since my surgery, I've probably done maybe 5, 6 shows and I hurt like hell. But tonight I didn't hurt,
Yeah, you was
because,
fired up. He been fired up since he called me.
oh yeah, because dude, like I said at the beginning of the show, you get, you know, I've shot over, I don't even know how many fights I've shot, how many seminars. I don't know how exactly the right amount of numbers, for the radio, and you get burnt. You really do. You get burnt out, and it's like people ask me, did you watch the fight, bro? I shot over 3,000 of them. Do you think I watched the fight? And it's like it's kind of because Steve's a photographer too for multiple aspects of the sport, and we don't watch fights unless it's family. We don't watch a program unless one of our brothers or sisters or so, because it's like this is what I guess you could say put a breath of fresh air into me. Bare knuckle in this just inspired me. This especially because I've been Ryan. What was it, about a year ago that I asked you to come on the show the first time?
Yeah, I'd have to say about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, and so I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this moment, and it's like to have two of the people that created the foundation of a sport that I'm learning to love, that I'm learning to appreciate. a new era, because if you don't create new aspects, then it gets diminished.
Mhm.
So I loved what Dana White, I love what the UFC has done here, because they've created a new, I don't know if you want to call it a new path in the sport, but a new additive. That's the best way to put it, because what he's really doing is putting his heart, soul, and his wallet,
Yeah,
and
his own personal.
believing in you guys, and you guys have proved to this man that this show needs to be here, and it's you two on here that created that. Like I said, I could talk crap about JT Tilly and his little Branson power slap lean, but that ain't never going to get out of Branson. When you're a two-bit car salesman, you're always going to be a two-bit car salesman. I remember when when he managed Katie Taylor, and she, not Katie Taylor, but you know who I'm talking about, Steve,
I'm
the
sorry,
one who
guys.
died, Katie, who fought for LFA and RFA, Katie Collins. They used to date, and one of my sponsors owns Bite Me Mouth Guards, and when she passed away, I gave her molds to her parents. Well, JT Tilly tried to come after me because he felt that he owned the molds to somebody who passed away, who he wasn't even with. So this is how the sport is. You got to learn to deal with the ignorance, the bliss, and the tremendous moments. But man, I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart for coming on here, because this show absolutely brought me back to life, made my night. I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm a fan because of these two guys of Power Slap. Dana White can probably, any fighting sport he got into, he'd probably be successful, whether it be, boxing, which he wants to get into, any combat sport he wants to get into, he'll be successful. But this Power Slap, it's bringing fans in from all genres. My son's like, Dad, I would never do that, but I actually paid a girl, a bartender. He pays her $10. He does the shot, and she slaps him across the face. I'm like, what?
Slap
I'm like,
shot.
what?
Slap
So,
shot.
Slap shot.
yeah, slap shot, exactly.
I love that.
But these guys, they're pioneers, and like you said, Don, that the legacies are there, for everyone to watch. 70 million hits on YouTube on one video is astronomical. It's like Kimbo Slice numbers, and
Multiple
Dada
videos.
5000, the backyard brawls that we used to watch. It's a new sensation, and these guys are paving the way to the future power slap guys.
Yeah.
And
Well,
girls.
you're gonna make me leave the show, bro, because Ryan earlier said, yeah, when this came out, the UFC, blah blah blah. I was watching UFC 3 or UFC 4, and I was a little kid, and now you say that, bro. I shot UFC 3 as a grown ass man.
Hey, I knew I'd recognize you.
But
I
but
recognize you.
but it's crazy though, because a lot of people don't realize that I'm 62 years old. I'm starting to look like it now because of this damn collar or whatever. But you know, I love everything that you athletes bring to the table. Tonight has just been a tremendous show for me, even though it's not even on my own network. And I thought it was very, very pristine and very cool of Steve and his partners to say, let's do this on the Fighting News. Because real stars deserve a real audience. I'm not knocking my show by any means, but these guys have put in the work, the hard work, the effort. They do. I can't even name half of what Steve and all of his buddies do. But if I can put you guys on a show with almost 500,000 followers, then I'm going to. I didn't want to take a risk with my internet, even though I got a 1 gig mesh system. I didn't want to take the chance with this fiber optics and all the snow and the weather that we're having right now and ruin a tremendous interview because you're stepping back into MMA. We're not sure what the road's going to give to Ryan, but what you guys have done thus far deserve to be a perfect show on a tremendous network. So thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you letting us use the Fighting News. Brother, why don't you go ahead and take us on out? Oh, before you do, hey, Ryan, I got to deal with you. I'll tell you what, bro. I will autograph either a original Fighter's Voice shirt or a BYB shirt that this man right here makes and trade. And I'll even throw some cash in it on a trade for one of your cards.
You got it, buddy. No cash needed. Let's just do an even trade, all right?
Legend to legend, baby. Legend to legend.
I like it. I like it. You got it, buddy. Hey, if I find one that's not autographed, I'll autograph it for you myself, and I'll take a picture to authenticate it.
That'll be dope, bro. I would really love that. And we need to get Rese a card, man. Steve, you know what? That's something you could do. Steve does all the graphics and everything.
Let's go. The game
well, he does he does posters for all the fighters. He does merch for BYB and several other promotions. Makes the best merch in the world, bro. I mean, yeah. I won't send anybody to anybody else but Steve because I wear his product. And if I fired this sponsor probably 8 years ago, but I still wear his crap. I'm telling you, this is 8 years old, and look how good it still looks.
It still looks good.
You know, well, people don't believe us, man. When I was signed to Affliction, I was the 28th person ever assigned to Affliction. I was so stoked, and then I put my shirt on and washed it. Half the decal was gone. The second one I put on, I went like this. My underarm ripped. I was like, I mean, it's just, man. If you really want good apparel, man, hit up Steve Rothman, the Fighting News. I'm not saying that because he's my brother. I'm saying it because I don't want to see you get ripped off. You know, that's what's real in this world. Everybody's trying to dick everybody, come one up on somebody. I'll tell you where to get the best product for the cheapest prices. So hit me up. And if you want crap product, don't even hit me up at all because I won't even help you there.
I can't help you in that department.
Nah, man, because I've been to the saloon, the thrift shop, and the hood. And if I can find better than that, why would I go back? No, I'm kidding, bad time. But Ryan, thank you so much, brother. You really made my night. I love the walk that you created in this industry. I would love to see you back on TV. Dana, Mark Ratner, all of you, get this man back on TV. Get him doing something. The same with Rese Archer. They're larger than life, and people are gravitating to them. You created a product. Now this is the byproduct, and people want to see more of it. So bring them back onto the UFC, Power Slap, UFC promotion, whatever. Just bring them back. The fans want them back. We want them back. The sport needs them back.
Power Slap Legends, we call that
show.
Yeah, Power Slap Legends. Let's go.
Wait, well, you know they did that in boxing, bro. When they did Legends Forever, they had Larry Holmes, Smoking Joe Frazier. All of them take up. They need to do the same with Power Slap. They really do. I think that would be dope. Legends Forever, Power Slap revisited. Dana, there you go. You and Mark Ratner, get on that, bro.
Get on that.
Tell him, Don.
Well, I think it's a great idea.
Hey,
I love it. I love it. That sounds amazing.
And so these Rese and Ryan were both saying about rules of UFC, of Power Slap, and the rules are there and they're changing all the time because, you know, when you get clubbed, you're talking about clubbing. You're supposed to be slapped like this, but when you move the wrist, that club, that's when people get knocked out on the floor in the first shot.
Or get hit directly in the temple, like it doesn't get caught. You'd be like, what was that, bro? That's not even the jawline. That wasn't even the place. You completely missed the mark.
Exactly. And those are the rules that need to be
applied.
looked at. looked
Yeah,
at.
for sure.
You know, are you allowed to go like this and flinch and grit your teeth? No, you're not. But they do. They do it because you're going to get slapped in the face. So, you know, as someone watching the show, I get confused a bunch of times. And I say, "Oh, he moved." It's just like watching football when the guy's offside. You're like,
He's
he's
offside.
throw the flag. You know.
Right.
I wish, you know, there's some things that I would like to see in Power Slap. One being, you know, like a wrestling WWE style walkouts. You know, like, you know, I've
The
seen some
smoke and
guys
the
with
lights.
flags, but they really don't let them be themselves. You know, I'd like to see different walkouts. I'd like to see an entourage of friends and, you know, maybe family walking them out, because it's a big deal. You know, it's almost as dangerous. I don't know if it's almost as dangerous, but you know, fighters have died in the ring. You know, unfortunately, no power slap person has passed, but it could happen. You
But
know
a
what I'm
guy
saying?
lost his memory and he was like asleep
Yeah.
for a long time.
Two people have lost their lives slap fighting in the history.
Oh wow.
From the slap.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
This is
No,
this is in a
no,
Russian.
was it from the, what was that from? Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't from Dana's. It was either from the Russian or JT Tilly's slap league. But one of my brothers, you know, because my show is just like Steve's, but just not as big. You know, we're global. But my brother out of Drayton, Canada says, I didn't know that it was so technical. You know, Ryan, would you say it is more technical from your era or more technical now? Do you think, you know, we've talked about them loosening up the rules, but is the technical aspect still there?
Yeah, it's still there. You know, like I said, the heel lifting. I mean, you still have to keep it to where the heels go straight up. You know, if they start curling left or right, you know, that's considered a step. So, I mean, when you pull off these, when you do and abide by these new rules, you're kind of inviting yourself to foul. So a lot of times, you know, I tell a lot of my guys because I still coach. I tell them just keep them planted. You know, try to keep them planted as best as you can until you know the contact, because you don't want to invite the fouls. So I mean, there still is skill involved for people who do follow the rules and try to, you know, be aware and away from the actual rules themselves. But you know, I think our era, I think when me and Rese started, that was the most skilled era because there
Yeah, for
was
sure.
so many rules intact, and over time they've just been loosening and loosening and loosening them up. And so I think yeah, the most skilled era definitely came from our house season one, and yeah, we still have yet to be beat.
Yeah, it was a lot more expectation on us too, being the first season. Like we was definitely being like drilled, like making sure that we follow every aspect of the sport that they wanted us to. Like we had to make sure that we even developed our kind of our own techniques in a sense to see like what was going to work for our body type. Because everybody body don't move the same, you
Right.
know, and everybody's trying to figure out how to get the best range of motion and the most power. Because Ryan still has the hardest hit recorded. You know, he's got one of the hardest slaps recorded on the power box. You know, so that's just another thing. That was another staple to like just Ryan, who was, and who he is, and what he's bringing to the table as a power slapper. You know, so nobody was able to match those numbers still, and it's like, and he's doing that with the technical aspect of keeping his hand down, making sure his hand got places right at the same time. So that just made him more of a vicious opponent, more scary opponent to be with anybody that was facing him. Like you're going to be going against somebody that knows what he's doing. You know, and he's bringing a hell of a slap behind him. You know, so he wasn't playing.
Let me ask you guys, because now they're going back into the original first season and even some of the newer episodes. And some of these people are creating some fucking whack ass videos. But I seen one of you the other day, Ryan. You knocked a guy out, and you see his earplug fly out,
Yeah.
and he goes to fall, and then there's got this motherfucker playing a piano after he gets dropped. And then they have another one of you, and you hit the guy, and he falls back, and he's almost like sitting, but lean. They grabbed him, but then they break out with a DJ table, and the dude's just sitting there DJing. And I'm just like, this is so fucking hilarious. Have you seen what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of those videos. I'm talking thousands of those videos of us.
Yeah.
I mean, even I think they turned Rese into a dog, and he was barking at Azael after he got hit. The videos are wild. So
Yeah.
no, it's one of the greatest aspects of this sport is that it has that opportunity to become such a viral moment. And these clips, you only need 10 seconds to make this thing viral, and then they take the 10 seconds, stretch it out to whatever, getting abducted by aliens and dancing with the church gospel, just a wild thing. But it's amazing, and I love the fans for it.
I got one last question, and I enjoyed myself too much. I didn't realize we were on here for an hour and 45 minutes, but I'm having a blast. But I'm going to let you guys go. But now I forgot what I was going to ask Ryan. I'm so pumped, dude. It's just, it's like, I'm glad you guys added to a sport that I already loved. I really am. And you know what? For you guys to be the beginning of it, it's a true blessing to be able to share your walk, your story. Ryan, where you live, it's pretty desolate. There's not much going on. I think Kelly Pavlik lives not too far from you. And, so how hard is it from somebody like you? I mean, I know there's a lot of MMA fighters that come out of there, but I think you're the only power slap fighter to come out of Ohio, aren't you?
No, there's actually John Davis, who's from Springfield or Solon, Ohio, I believe. And there's Garrett Blakesley, who's also from Ohio as well. So there's three of us right now.
Yeah.
You're still the champ, still the man. But
still the man, though. I'm the king of kings, baby. There ain't no one better. Hey, if you're coming to Ohio, forget those guys. Just remember Ryan Phillips.
I know that's right.
You guys, thank you so much. Hey, Steve, why don't you go ahead and wrap it up? I don't want to keep these guys on here for because I'll talk to them for 3 fucking hours, bro.
Yeah, thank you guys for so much for coming in on the show. Ryan, it was great to meet you. Rese, I want you to kick some ass, get that knockout Saturday.
Let's go, Rese.
Yeah.
Killer Rese, baby. Yeah, look him up. One Punch Man, baby.
That's it. And we're going to have you guys back on the show again. Let's do it again. This was great.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
I'm in.
You know what? Next time, why don't we'll shoot for a 6-pack? Because I want to see these guys get into it, bro. I really do. I'm just an asshole.
Let's go. Bring it on.
Hey, Ryan, thank you so much, my brother. You truly are a tremendous man on your walk. My brother, Rese, you'll always be family to me, man. Since day one. Oh, since day one, man. I love you, bro. If I could get up to Chicago this weekend, because you're only 5.5 hours from me.
Yeah.
If I could get up there, I would, but I
think
just barely got
see you after the fight though, because after the fight I got like 2 weeks. So I think that day I get off or whatever, I'm just gonna pop up on you and we go get something to eat.
That'd be
tell
dope.
Coach we're gonna drive out there.
Yeah, because they took my driver's license away. They just barely gave it back to me. But
Don, I know why they took your driver's license away. I seen you get into fights and arguments and shit in the parking lot.
Oh, Don got the road rage, huh?
Don got mad road rage.
Hey, I'm looking for McDonald's, bitch. There's a story to that, but we'll save it for the next episode.
Hey, the next one. Yeah, let's wait for the next one. We got stories.
You guys have a great night.
Peace.
Thank you guys so much. Peace.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Love you guys too. Peace. Man, I love the show, man. That was great. You still have Ryan on there, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So what'd you think about that, man? I told you, Ryan is just the greatest, man. I'm glad I didn't interview him when I was supposed to the first time, because now we got to do it together. We got to be on the show. and they happen to like each other. That's the greatest part of it.
Yeah. It's
So
let me I was gonna end the show.
we're still live.
We're still alive. Yeah, I was just gonna end it. And
All
then
right.
we'll talk. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Had some the fighting news, the first power slappers on the show, mostly boxers, MMA, and bare knuckle fighters. And I really enjoyed it. Thanks for hooking it up, Don. Let me just play this outro. Anything last to say, Don?
Just tune in to the fighting news and the original fighter's voice. We both share the same content. We're both brothers. We're both building the world. Do it. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Don.
Done. That was dope. That was